Good evening and welcome to this City Council meeting for Monday, December 21st, 2020. I'll now call this meeting to order with a roll call from Madam Clerk.
Miller.
Here.
DeBoer.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Harding.
Here.
Guerra.
Here.
Sires.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item of business tonight, item 1, is approval of the minutes of a regular meeting from December 7th that are special from December 9th. Is there a motion to approve? Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That does pass, and I'll ask for any agenda revisions, Madam Clerk.
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we get started with our regular meeting into the details, I do want to pass along that we are meeting in this electronic format in accordance with the provisions of the Iowa Public Information Board. We are meeting electronically due to the COVID spread risk that is shown for our area. Council has decided to have these meetings held electronically if our level is at high. Per the county scale, which shows on blackhawkcovid19.com. And it does do that right now, hence our electronic meeting. So with that, I'll start us off with special presentations. Tonight, we have an acceptance of a plaque of appreciation from the Iowa National Guard 1st Battalion of the 133rd Infantry Regiment, the Ironman Battalion. And I'm joined here tonight with Major Andrew Smith from the United States Army. So Major Smith, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Can you hear me, Mayor?
I can.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be on here with you. Thanks for the invite, Mayor Green and City Council members. My name is Major Andrew Smith. I am the full-time officer in charge of the 1st Battalion, 133rd Infantry Battalion here in Waterloo. So our unit is mobilized currently, and Mayor Green was the architect of running up a proclamation for recognizing the battalion. Our nickname is the Ironman Battalion. And he recognized our deployment with a proclamation on July 11th, 2020, to recognize it as Ironman Battalion Day. And so we wanted to express our gratitude, and on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Garrett Gingrich and Command Sergeant Major Ricky Ayala, who is our command team, I presented a plaque to the mayor last Thursday and then to the city of Cedar Falls. In appreciation of the support of the community, and just really wanted to say thank you for all the support, and we look to build our relationships with the community and the Iowa National Guard in the future to come.
Thank you so much for joining us, Major Smith, and just want to express our appreciation to the Iowa National Guard, and especially in this holiday season. Just to know that, especially for our deployed troops, you and your families are in our thoughts and prayers, and we're looking to see how we can support you in our community. So for other council members, does anyone wish to have any additional comments on that on behalf of the public?
Just thanks for your service.
Agreed. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, and so with that, the plaque will be hanging in City Hall outside my office, and I understand we're looking for a remodel in the next few years, and these sorts of civic contributions for the public will be a key part of those displays. So again, thank you so much for joining us, Major Smith, and best wishes to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
How do you say it? Is it hoorah or hoorah?
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Thank you so much. Next item that we have tonight is moving into special order of business. Item 3 is a public hearing on proposed amendment number 6 to the Downtown Development Area Urban Renewal Plan. Is there a motion?
Move to receive and file. So moved.
Motioned and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. And are there any written communications filed with the city clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Giving our presentation tonight will be, it'll be Shane Graham, who is our Economic Development Coordinator. So, Mr. Graham, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. If City Council may recall, our downtown urban renewal plan was adopted back in 1986. And then back in 2012, the state legislature changed some the state code requirements for urban renewal that indicates whenever you're making any changes or any projects in your urban renewal area, you have to make a plan and put it into your urban renewal plan. So you'll see we've done a handful of amendments over the years. What we try to do as staff is review the urban renewal plan approximately on a yearly basis. It kind of coincides with the capital improvements program. What staff does then, we'll look at the capital improvements program over the next 5 years, and then go ahead and look and see what projects may be funded with TIF funding, and then look in if those projects need to be added to the urban renewal plan. We'll go ahead and make an amendment. So what's in front of council tonight is amendment number 6 to the downtown urban renewal plan, mainly for adding one new project for public security cameras. I believe that project was added in the College Hill urban renewal plan about a year ago. And then also to basically add update project budgets for mainly infrastructure projects. One of the big ones downtown is the street reconstruction project and the streetscaping project. Now that we have a little more firm numbers on the budget for that, we wanted to go ahead and amend the plan to put those budgetary numbers into the plan. So that's mainly the purpose of amendment number 6, and we're looking for council to approve that tonight.
Okay, thank you. I'll now move us over into public comments, and then we'll come back for council discussion on this item. So is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak tonight? I do see phone number ending in 40467. So if you can please give name and address for the record.
Yes, Jim Skane, 2215 Clay Street.
Hey, Mr. Skane.
And the explanation that was just given does not indicate what the full cost of this amendment would be. And it seems to me that this particular development is not as needed as other developments, but I would like to know exactly what the cost would be and exactly where down in the downtown area would be affected, because all that was explained were the security lights. The others were not explained.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Skane. Can staff provide any insight for that question?
Yeah, I can get into a little bit. There's a map provided in the urban renewal document itself that shows the actual boundaries of the downtown urban renewal area. If you'd like to reference that to see exactly where that boundary falls. For this amendment, for amendment number 6, now I would like to remind you that these are just projected numbers, estimates. So we have to have numbers in our plan. And then if, when we get bids or when we get estimates in, if those need to change, we can do an amendment. But for amendment 6, I think we were looking at adding about a little over 9 million, and then upgrading or updating some of the previous projects that were already listed in the plan is not to exceed about 41 million. And again, there's a handful of budgetary numbers that we updated, and you can see in the plan, we call out which ones are being amended. For instance, in the downtown, again, like I mentioned, the streetscape project and the street reconstruction project, that's a pretty big one. There was the parking lot, or the alley reconstruction on First Street, Peter Melendi Park. Again, those are things that are infrastructure projects that we want to have called out in the plan. And then there's some general numbers in here for just future development agreements. Again, we have several existing development agreements with some with developers downtown, and again, making sure that there's a budget in here for future development agreements as well. Is you need to have that in the plan before we can enter into any future development agreements. So we wanted to have that budget in there as well. So, if you have any questions on any specifics, I can go over them. But there's like I said, in the plan, all of the amendments are called out within there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. Any other questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, then I will call the public hearing closed and move us to item 3E, which is a resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development and blighted area, and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or combination thereof of such area as necessary in the interest of public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designated such area as appropriate for urban renewal projects, and adopting the amendment number 6 to the downtown development area urban renewal plan. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and seconded. I'll open it now for council discussion.
When I have a question. When are we looking at the security camera project? When what is the timeline on that? And do we have any plans or ideas of where we're putting them? I guess my concern would be making sure that it doesn't interfere with any private property or anything like that. I know that's kind of a separate issue, but I guess could I get more information on that by any chance?
So actually in the CIP, we put a line item in for security cameras. And I was trying to look to see what item that was, but 15. And so one of the things we're trying to do on the downtown and the College Hill is also trying to coordinate that, like the downtown right now, why we're doing some of the construction downtown. I think what we've tried to do, IT and police have tried to work together kind of where they think the cameras are needed. And so I know that doesn't give you an exact date. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head on some of those, but again, we are trying to work through where we need them. But why we also wanted to put it on the CIP is we also know what are the future areas that we might want to look at cameras as well. Is it University Avenue, is it Industrial Park, whatever it is. So we're continuing to look at where we might want additional cameras.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded for this resolution approving and authorizing, a resolution determining area to be an economic development and blighted area, along with adopting amendment number 6, the downtown development urban renewal area. This requires a roll call vote.
Sarah,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeVore,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That moves us to item 4, which is a public hearing on proposed amendment number 6 to the Cedar Falls Unified Highway 58 Corridor Urban Renewal Plan. Is there a motion to receive proof of publication?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes and moves us to asking for written communications with the city clerk. Are there any? Madam Clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, we have Shane Graham giving the staff comments tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, just like the amendment number 6 to the downtown urban renewal plan, this is amendment number 6 to the unified Highway 58 corridor urban renewal plan. This is basically our main industrial park, and it's also linked through Highway 58 to our North Cedar Falls Industrial Park as well. This project, again, is not adding any new project, but instead what we did is took a look at the CIP. Again, our last amendment was in 2018 when we annexed that property just west of the industrial park. We also included that area in our urban renewal plan. So that was the last amendment we did. When we did that amendment, we put in some general estimates for infrastructure improvements, sanitary sewer roads, things like that within that new 200 acres. And now that we're starting to know a little bit more about some of those costs, specifically the Viking Road reconstruction from Union Road to the former city limit line, we're going ahead and updating the project now that we know a little bit more about that estimate. I've been working with Chase and the engineering staff on some of those estimates, and now what we're doing is reflecting some of those numbers in the plan so that those numbers coincide with each other. So this amendment does not add any new area, does not add any new projects. What it's doing is updating some of the existing projects that were already in the plan with updated information.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. I will now open this for public comment, and I see Mr. Skeen has his hand up again. So, Mr. Skeen, you've got the floor, sir.
The explanation just given does not give the estimated figures, that was avoided in what was said. It seems to me that the figures are important and should have been given as to how much this is going to cost. And of course, this is in the area of the industrial park urban renewal. And I just think that there needs to be more complete information on it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Skeen. I'll again turn it over to staff for any insight that can be provided on that question.
Yeah, so in the plan itself, now again, this goes over, now this is amendment number 6, so this is going all the way from when this was first adopted. I mean, there's a total estimate for all projects in here of a little over $100 million. Now, again, these are just projects. Now, if some of these projects don't happen, you know, or if the numbers come in different, this is basically a planning a guide. So total with all the projects in this plan is a little about 105 million.
Okay, thank you very much. And I see no other questions for public comment, so I will consider the public portion of this hearing closed and bring us to item E, 4E, which is resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development area, and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or combination thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designating the area as appropriate for urban renewal projects, and adopting the amendment number 6 to the Cedar Falls Unified 58 Corridor Urban Renewal Plan. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and seconded, open for council discussion.
This is way off the wall question, but I had a resident reach out to me a couple months ago who used to work for the city actually, and when 58 was built, at that time there was some negotiation with the state about sound barriers along that road, and at the time there wasn't, I think the speed was slower and there wasn't enough traffic, it wasn't a big deal. Have we ever considered looking at the need for sound barriers on 58? I know it's got nothing to do with this, but I don't know how else to bring it up. Ron or Shane or anybody, has that ever been in?
I would have to interject here, just as the fact that it isn't tied to this item.
That's fine.
So it would be a great question for staff as a
Okay.
a
Will
phone
do.
call action.
Just thought of it. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from council on this item? Okay, so it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Kara,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding,
Aye.
all voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item that we have is number 5, which is a public hearing on a proposal to undertake a public improvement project for the West 27th Street Sanitary Sewer Extension Project and to authorize acquisition of private property for said project. Is there a motion? Excuse me. I need to go through proof of publication for this item. Is there a motion to approve or receive and file proof of publication?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that passes. I apologize for that. I got a little ahead of myself. Are there any written communications filed with City Clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for staff comments, I believe we have Matt Feuerhelm tonight with us, who is on engineering staff for the city. So can you hear us okay, Matt?
I can hear you, Mayor, if you can hear me.
Yep, go right ahead, sir.
Sure. This project is a sanitary sewer extension that will actually precede the West 7th Street reconstruction project. The project includes approximately 1,600 lineal feet of 15-inch diameter sanitary sewer pipe, along with related work. The sewer extension will serve the proposed Cedar Falls High School site and future residential development along West 27th Street. The second slide in your packet for this item shows the proposed sanitary sewer service area for this extension. Once the right-of-way acquisitions are complete, staff will present the proposed service area and a proposed tapping fee to go with it to City Council for consideration and approval at a future council meeting. We anticipate needing easements from 3 parcels in order to complete this project. The preliminary construction cost is $275,000, and we do anticipate construction in 2021. That's all I have on this item, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fairholm. With that, I will turn it over for public comments again. And I see Mr. Skane has his hand up. So there we are. Mr. Skane, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes. Now, these particular improvements talks about taking private property. Is that part of the property that was purchased for the high school? Because there doesn't seem to be any other buildings or anything out there.
Okay, thank you. So seeing that, Mr. Fairholm, did you catch that question, sir?
I did. The acquisitions we anticipate are actually through agricultural land. We will need a little bit of easement from the high school site, but very minimal.
Okay, thank you very much. And with that, I see no other hands up for public comment. So I will consider that public hearing closed and move us into item E, which is a resolution approving public improvement for the West 27th Street Sanitary Sewer Extension Project and authorizing acquisition of private property for said project. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion and seconded. Did you catch that for names? Okay. And motion and seconded, and open it for council discussion as well.
I had a quick question. I believe this was mentioned, but the tapping fee is that going to be, do we have an estimate on that? Isn't that going to kind of balance out the cost of this? Is that the goal?
That's correct, Mr. Harding. Generally, tapping fees would include the construction costs, the design fees to construct that sewer, as well as any right-of-way costs associated with that. So until we have accurate bids on all of those items, we won't have that fee established yet.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, other discussion or questions from council? All right, seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Vera,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye. Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeVore,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And I just want to give a warm welcome to the city for Mr. Fairholm. It's his first meeting with us tonight. Look forward to many more in the future. With that, moving over to item 6, it's a public hearing on a proposed amendment to Chapter 20 subdivisions of the Code of Ordinances relative to final plat phasing. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes. And I'll ask if there are any written communications filed with the city clerk.
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. For staff comments tonight, I can't read my notes. Who will we have speaking for that this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Howard. Hello, Karen Howard. Thank you for joining us tonight. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I will share my screen for a few slides.
Go right ahead. And we can see those just fine.
Great, thank you. As you recall, at your December 7th Committee of the Whole meeting, we discussed subdivision code amendments. Just to recap that discussion, the problem that we're facing here is that the subdivision code does not currently include specific rules regarding final plat phasing. In the last few years, a phasing plan has been requested at the time of preliminary plat We don't have this practice formally codified at this time. So the expectations are not clear right now, and it has been left largely up to the developer to determine that order of development. So in some cases, this practice has resulted in, as you know, critical street connections remaining unfinished. An incomplete or inefficient street pattern has both short-term and long-term costs to the community. Some of the things that we discussed at the Planning and Zoning Commission about poorly planned subdivision phasing, when particularly combined with poorly connected street networks, has a number of consequences. Increased commute times for the community, overburdening certain streets with excess traffic, which impacts the homeowners along those particular routes, safety concerns for pedestrians along the congested routes, particularly for children, increased driver frustration and speeding, increased emergency response times, and sometimes inefficient routing for utilities and for services such as refuse and pickup and snow plowing. So the discussion of solutions that we had at the Planning and Zoning Commission was to require a phasing plan at the time of preliminary plat and establish a standard for final plat phasing to ensure that the critical infrastructure connections occur prior to less critical areas of a subdivision. To give flexibility, of course, to the developer to propose phasing that meets the pace of market demand, but to give discretion to the City Council to determine if the final plat phase can function as an independent development and to ensure that no essential infrastructure improvements are being circumvented or delayed. I have the proposed code language up on the screen, and I'm not going to go through that, just put it up there in case there are any questions, but basically there are 3 different paragraphs. One in paragraph relates to the preliminary plat. At the preliminary plat stage, we would expect that phasing plan be submitted by the developer for their entire preliminary platted area. And this code amendment will then codify that practice that we have been doing on recent years, but it makes it clear what the intent is for that, so we can clearly judge those at the preliminary plat stage. And then at the time a developer would submit a final plat, it's clear then that the submittal, the review of a final plat phase would be discussed with relate to whether that particular final plat phase can function as a separate development. And that includes, making sure that it has adequate street access, stormwater management, utilities, and if no essential public infrastructure extensions are delayed. So that's at the submittal requirements. And then there's a third paragraph. We didn't discuss this at your committee of the whole meeting, but basically it parrots what the requirement for submissions. It just adds another paragraph at the end of the subdivision at final plat phase to make sure that it's clear that the City Council is going to consider this when they consider approving a final plat. That just clarifies the whole process at submittal and then at final when the council is approving and considering approval of a final plat. Staff recommends approval of the proposed amendments to the subdivision code. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed the proposed amendments at their August 12th, August 26th, and after further discussion at their October 28th meeting, they recommended approval. And I would be happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you. We can get the air back to everyone. Before doing that, I'll open it up for public comment and seeing if there are any hands raised for public comment. You can press *9 on your phone or the raise hand icon on your device app. And seeing none, I will consider the public hearing closed and move us over to item 6E, which is passing an ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 20 subdivisions of the Code of Ordinances relative to final plat phasing upon its first consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
A motion and seconded. Open for council discussion now. Seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Sarah,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And that pushes us over to item 7, which is a public hearing on proposed submission of the city's FY19 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, or CAPER, for the Community Development Block Grant Home Program. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So
So
moved.
moved.
A motion seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes. And are there any written communications filed with the city clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. For staff comments, we have Director Stephanie Sheets.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a requirement from HUD. We do this annually as we also annually adopt the plan before we implement it. So this is reporting on implementation for what's considered the federal fiscal year 19, which is the progress of our activities from July 1 of 2019 through June 30th of 2020. And this report is due next week to HUD after receiving an extension to the COVID-19, a number of extensions that occurred with the program. What's in the report that was reviewed by the Housing Commission and recommended for approval includes just reporting out on how we funded a variety of service agencies with our entitlement funds. We had $37,960 that we split among requests from the Family and Children Council, for credit counseling, Salvation Army, food bank, visiting nurses, pathways, behavioral services. We also completed a fairly large sanitary sewer lining project in low and moderate income areas to the tune of about $300,000. And we finally had several home rehabilitation projects. That's kind of a staple of our program, where we might have low and moderate income families that are income qualified that need improvements to their home. They can apply for these funds and go through a process to be approved for that. So we had a couple of those contracts as well, in addition to the funds that we need to administer the program. And we contract with Intercog to help with that administration as well. So with that, I would recommend approval of the CAPER.
Okay, thank you, Director Sheets. And I'll now open it for public comment. If there's anyone wishing to speak, you can press *9 on your phone or the raise hand icon on your app. And I see Mr. Skane's hand, so go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, I was wondering, was there any interest in looking at diversity with the project? Because it seems like in the past there had been mainly white families who were advantaged by the program.
And thank you, Mr. Skane. So for city staff, is there any insight you can provide on that question?
The program primarily is to serve low and moderate income households in Cedar Falls. So that is one of the national objectives of the Community Development Block Grant Program. And it's the one that many of our programs fit under. When somebody, for example, let's take a housing rehab project, we take those on a rolling basis. They go on to a waiting list, kind of first come, first serve priority with that. And it's an income eligible type of program. So other factors don't come into play. It's first and foremost reviewing their household income based on how many people live with the family, and then we go from there.
Okay, so racial considerations aren't a factor then for those grants or the funds?
It's not one of the priority areas that's reviewed.
Right. Okay, thank you. So I see no other hands for public comment, so I'll consider that public hearing closed and move us into item 7E, which is a resolution approving and authorizing submission of the city's consolidated annual performance evaluation report for the Community Development Block Grant and Home Programs. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
The motion and seconded and open for council discussion. And seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Kara,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That moves us over into old business, which begins at item 8 on page 3, which is passing ordinance 2976, amending section 26118 of the Code of Ordinances by rezoning from C3 and R4 to C3 commercial and property located on the vicinity of West 22nd Street and College Street on its third and final consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion and seconded and open for council discussion. Seeing none, I'll open it also for public questions and comments. If anyone wishes to comment, you can press *9 on your phone or the raise hand icon. Okay, seeing none, and with no further council comment, then it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Dara,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Oh.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That puts us to item 9, which is passing ordinance 2977, amending chapter 12, human relations of the Code of Ordinances relative to the Human Rights Commission upon its second consideration. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
The motion and seconded, and first open it for public comment. And I see that we have a hint from Mr. Skeen. So go ahead, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, I would like just a quick review of what this ordinance does say, because it says that human relations, the Code of Ordinances relative to the Human Rights Commission. Could we have a review of the content of this particular ordinance?
Thank you, Mr. Skeen. So just for the 30-second infomercial, would that be Director Rodenbeck in the best position just to tell us briefly what's in this change?
Council may recall that we did have a joint meeting with the Human Rights Commission and talked to them about kind of what I think the council saw as their role moving ahead. So really what these ordinances do is really kind of focus on that education, outreach, and advocacy that for that role of that commission. You may see in the ordinance that it seems like there's a lot of redlining, but I think last time there was discussion about how a lot of that is duplication of what is in state code. And I think really to clean up our code, we, have removed a lot of that. But again, the focus of these ordinances is to define that role of the Human Rights Commission in terms of their outreach, advocacy, and education.
Thank you. And just specifically removed from those was considerations of investigations, direct investigations of complaints that had been part of the ordinance, but past practice and council's declared desire was to remove that function from the Human Rights Commission because all of our cases currently go to the state for investigation anyway. So it just was deemed appropriate to help manage expectations for particularly people who are wanting to apply to the commission, for them to know that they would be in an outreach, advocacy, and research and education role instead of being investigators. So with that, I see no other comments from the public side or hand raised. So I'll turn it over to council for additional discussion. Does anyone have questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Dare, go ahead.
I guess I do have a question about, I know we've got 2 or 3 new members to get on the commission, and there was still, I sensed when we met the last time that there might be a possibility of a joint work session or something to talk between the council and members of that commission as to what their roles may look like in the future. Is anything like that in the offing at this point, or do we know?
Well, this is for the change of the code of ordinances rather than for a discussion. So it would be good to bring that up for later in the evening, if that's okay.
Like a good time, but that's okay.
So any further discussion on this change in the ordinance itself? Okay, it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Dara,
Aye.
Cyrus,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
12 voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that puts us to item 10, which is an ordinance, or passing ordinance 2978, amending Chapter 23, Traffic and Motor Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances relative to the use of electric assist bicycles on city recreational trails upon its second consideration. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Motioned and seconded, and open it for public comment or question. If you want to press *9 on your phone or the raise hand icon. I see Mr. Skane has a comment, so go ahead, sir.
Yeah, last time there was some consideration of some safety concerns and that like. And I was wondering if there had been anything done in the past 2 weeks to check to see, exactly what was happening, because that would be important as you go through the second and third considerations of this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Skane. So I'll open it for public, or excuse me, for staff, if you have any insight for this item.
Don't have any additional information that wasn't previously provided.
Okay, thank you very much. And seeing no other public comment, I'll bring it back over to council. Any discussions or items? Councilmember
Mr.
Harding.
Mayor.
Councilmember Harding first, I saw.
Point of clarification. This is we couldn't really do any changes to it because this is a second consideration. So we would have to, if we made any changes to the tiers or anything, we would have to start all the way over, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just point of clarity, really.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Cruz?
I guess I was just wondering, we did talk about the speed limit and the potential of running into animals on leashes and that sort of thing. I hope there is consideration or some sort of discussion to be ready to watch for this. If there's a great number of accidents revolving pets, little kids, and bicycles going 28 or much over 15. Because if you ever tumbled off a bike at something over 15 miles an hour, you know it's not pleasant.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Cruz. Any other questions or comments during discussion? Seeing none, it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Sarah,
Aye.
Cyrus,
Hey.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
No.
Cruz,
No.
Harding.
Aye.
4 voting aye, 3 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to item 11, which is passing ordinance 2979, amending Chapter 23, Traffic and Motor Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances relative to prohibiting parking of commercial trucks and trailers on residential streets upon its second consideration. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded and open for public comment. Again, that's *9 on your phone or the raise hand icon. And seeing none, then bring it back to council for a discussion on this item. No discussion. Okay, seeing none, then it's been motioned and seconded to pass 2979, and this requires a roll call vote.
Sarah,
Aye.
Cyrus,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
No.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding.
Aye.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us over to new business, which is our consent calendar. These items will be acted upon by a voice vote in a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. And before we go into that, I do just have I learned the term Scrivener's error today. that we want to address. That's in item 14. I'm going to show my screen just so you know what I'm talking about here. And that is under, where is that showing here? Okay, so under the item for 14, there was a section in here, wastewater. Council voted to modify existing plant. Staff is going to change that to reflect that it was a consensus to modify the existing plant, since in a work session there are no votes. So with that, there would be no additional reason to pull this item for part 2M. So back to the regular program here. Does anyone wish to pull an item 12 through 16?
I'd like to pull 14 for 2 additional scriber errors.
So 14 and any other item. Okay, any from the public? I see Mr. Skane's hand. So which items would you like to pull, Mr. Skane?
Just 14.
Okay.
That was
All right, thank you, sir. So we're pulling item 14, which means I will read items 12 through 16 minus 14. 12 is receiving and filing the resignation of Angela Wazescook as a member of the Human Rights Commission. I thank her for her service this year. Item 13 is approving recommendations of the mayor relative to reappointment of members to boards and commissions. These are 2 for the Health Trust Fund Board, and again, thank them very much for their commitment to the city and for making us a better place, particularly for a 6-year term. That's quite a commitment. Item 15 is receiving and filing the Committee of the Whole minutes of December 7th, 2020. And item 16 is approving applications for beer permits and liquor licenses. Is there a motion to approve minus 14?
So moved. Second.
The motion and seconded and requires, or excuse me, is a voice vote. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those do pass, and we'll go back to item 14, which is receiving and filing the City Council goal setting report of November 17th and 19th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second.
A motion and seconded, open for council discussion. So Councilmember DeBrew, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for correcting 2M. The other 2 that I had wanted corrected was under 12A, where it says part-time mayor. It should read part-time mayor versus full-time. And then on number 7A, it should say continue with the special report, because it was actually a special report.
So it's been motioned to make those 2 changes. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
A motion and seconded. Any council discussion? Okay, and also I'll have to bring forward for Mr. Skane too. He had asked to bring up that item. So, oh, and I've just lost him on the screen. Okay, I'll give a moment if he returns back in. My understanding was he wanted to bring up something on that item. Okay, seeing none. Is there any other discussion from the council on this item? Then I understand that there was a motion for Miss or excuse me, Councilmember DeBrew. Those 2 items, do we need to for council? Do we need to restate those? Okay, so motion and seconded, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that passes, and that clears out our consent calendar. So it brings us over to the resolution calendar.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please. Did I miss something?
No, just a clarification. We voted on changing that. Do we have to vote on the entire document now?
Okay.
No, you're
No.
receive and file.
But did we just amend? We just amended the document. So is it all one? I mean, it doesn't matter to me ultimately. I thought that since we just amended the item that we all agreed on that we would then have to receive and file it, right?
Point taken. I think it'd be
Yeah.
appropriate to
Yeah.
vote on the item as amended.
But with council's consent on that, we'll consider the voice vote as amending the item. Now we'll take a second voice vote in consideration of receiving and filing the entire item. So is there a motion to, or is
So
there
moved.
a second? And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. Thank you very much for that point of order. So that does receive and file that item. And now it clears out our consent calendar and moves us over to the resolution calendar. The following items will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Does anyone on council wish to pull an item 17 through 26?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull number 17 and number 18.
Okay, so 17 and 18. And any others from council? Okay, seeing none. From the public. So, Mr. Skane, thank you so much for joining us again. And which item would you like to pull for 17 through 26? I believe I unmuted you, but I'm going to try again here. Okay, yes, go ahead, Mr. Skane.
Yeah, the items that I wanted to pull are 17 and 18, so they've already been pulled.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Skane. So we'll keep you on there, okay? And so 17 and 18 will be pulled, which means I'll read out 19 through 26. 19 is a resolution approving and authorizing expenditure of funds for replacement of tasers for the Public Safety Department. 20 is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a Red House studio lease agreement. Item 21 is a resolution approving the certificate of completion and accepting the work for the Cedar Falls Recreation Center locker rooms upgrades project. And it does look terrific. I hope people will get out to see the nice changes. Item 22 is resolution approving and authorizing expenditure of funds for replacement of trickler filter arms at the wastewater treatment facility. 23 is a resolution approving the certificate of completion and accepting the work of Peterson Contractors Incorporated for the Ridgeway Avenue reconstruction project. 24 is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with ACOM for the FEMA levee system accreditation submittal. And 25 is a resolution approving certificate of completion for Peterson Contractors for the Walnut Street box culvert replacement project. And then finally, 26 is a resolution setting January 4th, 2021 as the date of the public hearing for the proposed 2021 to 2026 capital improvements program. So there's a motion to approve these items minus 17 and 18.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Sarah,
Aye.
Sires,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding,
Aye.
all voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So bringing us back to item 17, that's a resolution establishing the 2021 pay for City of Cedar Falls elected officials in compliance with the city's code of ordinances. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded, and open it for council discussion. Oh, excuse me, for ease of communication, I'll do the public part first. So I saw that Mr. Skane had his hand raised on this item. So Mr. Skane, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, if this item is approved, is there a way that the results of approval is displayed separately in the minutes so that we can know exactly what these are? Because the only other way is to go through the packet, which is not very friendly to understand.
So my understanding of the question is if the individual votes will be recorded separately in the meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Skane?
Yeah, yes.
Since this is a resolution item, all votes will be recorded separately. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'll bring it to council then for discussion. Are these Councilmember Sires? I believe you brought this forward.
Yeah, no, I brought this forward. I believe this is giving ourselves a raise, and my only problem is I signed on for the 4 years. I don't feel good about giving myself a raise.
that's why I brought it up. I know it's not a big deal and it's not a big percentage, but that's my only issue with it. I don't expect anyone to see it my way, but that's why I wanted to bring it up and vote it separately.
Okay, thank you. And for staff, this was a very interesting thing because I had similar considerations and had an enlightening conversation in our staff meeting this morning about it. So can one of the maybe Mr. Gaines or is it Mr. Rogers or Director Rodenbeck tell us sort of what the issues are with how this is written in the ordinance and what it means we can and can't do and what a vote will mean or not mean?
Sure. So actually in the Code of Ordinances right now, it actually has what the salary is when this started years ago by council and mayor, and it has right in there that every year the raise will be based on the consumer price index inflation factor. And so that really happens because it's right in the ordinance. But what we've done for several years now is actually put it on the council agenda. And I don't know if I should really say to approve, but it's really on there more from an effort to be transparent. But these raises would occur automatically anyway at January 1st because of the ordinance. But we feel it's important to put it on just so everybody knows what that amount is and what the raise is. And so what we've talked about with council before is, if ever there's a time that the council doesn't want to do the raises, it's not really not approving this resolution does that. You really need to go back and address the ordinance and amend the ordinance to change that. Now, as the mayor mentioned, one thing we discussed this morning is maybe in future, instead of doing it as a resolution, maybe we can receive and file so we can accomplish that same thing of having the transparency, but everyone understanding that it really does happen automatically by the Code of Ordinances.
So this could be a future item, maybe as a referral to possibly change the ordinance, maybe even to say in relation to increases in relation to consumer price index unless rejected by council on a given year, something like that. So that it's because as it is right now, it is set in stone that these raises have to occur. As I understand, is that a good reading, Director Rodenbeck? Okay. So any other discussion or comments on this of what this approval is?
What year was that ordinance put into play? Do we have that offhand? Just curious.
It's actually right in those amendments that Kevin had for mayor. I was trying to find my stack here on those because it's right in there. And maybe Kevin, I don't know if you have that handy, but
yeah, I've got it here. It's section 2186 salary, and it's
so is it 2000? January 1st of 2000.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just curious. That's all.
I have versions in 1999, 1991, and 2017.
So I think the rate was established for January 1st, 2000 at an amount. And then again, it had the annual inflation factor in there every year.
All right, any other questions or discussion from council? Okay, so it's been motioned and seconded and requires a roll call vote.
Sarah?
Aye.
Sires?
Nay.
Dunn?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
DeBoer?
Aye.
Cruz?
Aye.
Harding?
Aye.
6 voting aye, 1 voting nay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to item 18, which is a resolution approving and adopting the FY 2022 Council Goals Work Program and Short-Term Financial Plan. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion and seconded. Open it up for public comment, and I see Mr. Skane with his hand up here. So, Mr. Skane, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, the big question is with it's called the City Council Goals. Is that the goal setting session results? And if so, will those goals be published separately? And the same thing for the work program and short-term financial plan.
Thank you, Mr. Skane. I can probably answer some of that. With the council goals document, it is generated, or changes are generated for it based on the work sessions that we hold in usually November of each year. So there are large portions of it that don't change from year to year because these are things that are just sort of an ongoing council desire. In those, with this year especially, there were some changes to the formatting and some of the language, but largely the actual information stayed intact. So for the if there's a question about votes or how council members determined it, this was done by consensus. And so without specific votes being taken on each item, what that means is nearly all of these things that are going to come forward again to be considered by council or to be enacted will have a time in the council chambers where there's an actual vote taken on it. So most of these, again, are just consent items to make sure that staff is generally operating in the way that the council is directing. And this report also is required each year via the city ordinances as well. So it's something that is required and I believe has been a terrific aid to the city. It's something that not a lot of cities do, but it's gaining more and more traction. We've been a great model for the entire state for how to build the city's direction. So I'll open it also just generally for council or staff if you want to chime in on this document.
Where I know it's published in the packet, but do we have other avenues where people could check out the documents themselves or the document?
We can get that. We'll post it on our website, kind of similar to what we do with the budget, the CIP, that once it's approved, we'll put it out there on our website as a document that people can go access.
And I'm just looking where it is now, the existing document, and this will replace it, is under the Cedar Falls website, under government, there's a part that says mission statement and goals, and that will be posted right there. So we do want it to be a very public, very visible document for the residents to learn why city government does what it does and how these things are determined by council each year. Other thoughts,
Yeah.
Councilmember Dara?
Yeah, great points. And I think the other point is that when you look at it, you'll see that it's a 5-year document, really. It's not just something we thought of a couple nights just in this last January, but 5 years worth of planning that build on each other. Our staff does a great job of putting together the financial plan to implement goals as they come along. Certainly some get bounced around when something comes up and we've got to intervene, like a flood or something, but it's like the mayor said, I think there's a lot of communities in the state that wish they had an effective model like this. And I would encourage people to look at it so you know that how planful we are in what we do.
Excellent.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Cyrus.
My comment on this is only that I was always taught by my dad as a little guy that you always think and do things in the order of their importance. So I just have different orders and different priorities, and that's why I bring this up. It's just that I feel differently. I love Cedar Falls like none other, and I just have different priorities for us sometimes, and I'm not always, it was consensus and that was fine. So I just wanted to bring this back up. That's all. Thanks.
Councilmember Cyrus. Any other comments or discussion on this item? Okay. Seeing none, then, oh yes, Councilor DeBurr, go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't get my mute off. I had a question on the C, item C, 1 through 4. Was this just carried over from before? Because we didn't actually discuss Waterloo strategic plan or like the regional airport authority. So was this just carried forward?
No, this I added several items to it, and it's up for council consideration. If you wish to strike items, you're welcome to do so.
So you added items that weren't discussed at goal setting. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. And then on number 7E1, it lists transition to part-time mayor. That implies that that's what we want to do, which isn't what it was. Not to transition to part-time, it was simply to discuss it. So is that something that was added by mistake, or is it a typing error?
If you'd like to change it, we certainly can do that to say, if you want to put an amendment to it, to say consideration of part-time mayor.
I guess I just don't quite understand if it was goal setting for the council, why it was changed.
What do you mean changed? I don't
Well, you said you added things. I'm not understanding why you added things.
Well, in consultation with staff, there are a few items it made sense to change to me, and I bring this forward to council for consideration. And this document has been out for quite a bit of time to consider. So I will certainly entertain amendments to it if you wish to strike items.
A quick point, Mr. Mayor. I do see where Susan's coming from, and I would possibly change the wording on that transition to talked about or whatever we want to do. But we did also talk about at goal setting that you were going to restructure the goal setting document. That was mentioned, and there was consensus to allow that. So I see what you did, as we did talk about that going, happening, or at least I remember talking about that. But back to the transition there, I would second you, Susan, on changing that one word.
There's not been a motion brought forward.
All right.
I'll make the motion to amend it to transit or to a different wording there. And I guess.
So how about, can we make it as consideration? That's all we were looking for.
Consideration of part-time mayor, that's fine.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, so motion and seconded.
And I guess in regards to the rest of I think I do recall that reorganizing that document was going to happen, but I feel like it's a little disingenuous on a 24-page document to add things or change things and not highlight them in red or something.
They were in green. Did that not carry over?
Not in my packet.
Mine either.
It was an email that was sent out where there was two documents, right? There was the clean version and the version that they added stuff to in green. That's what I got. It wasn't, and then they just put the clean version in I don't know. Did anybody else get that email?
I believe the mayor's changes that you're talking about, Simon, were pages 2 and 3, which was the abbreviations and the reports and resources cited.
There's quite a bit additional more than that, but those were greened, and it sounds like you didn't see that document.
Simon's the only one who got it.
I did want to clarify that.
I got it came from Ron, I think. I can tell you what day it came. I got it right here. Frank got it too because he responded to it. Came out on December 15th, and it had two attachments, a red line one that had green, they call it, and then it was greened, and then with the things he added, and then a clean version, and it says to city council. Anyway, that's where I got and saw all the differences. I didn't catch the transition thing though, so I still support that.
So could it be most appropriate, if there are questions still, to lay this on the table until our next meeting? Would that work, Mr. Rogers? So they can
see. So the pending vote is approving the resolution. So
with a motion to amend.
With the motion to amend.
I'm comfortable with making the motion. Just make the amendment and
making the motion. Councilor Miller.
What's that?
What's your desire then at this point?
Let's vote on the motion to amend the transition to consideration.
Okay. So that's been motioned and seconded. And any further discussion on that? for just the transition, the changing the text?
Do we have other language we wanted to change as well?
Well, we need to do it one at a time.
I understand, but I'm just wondering. So
We need to do it one at a time, and then we can
speaking
discuss.
out of turn, sorry.
So motion and seconded, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So that is amended and brings us back to the original question of the approving and adopting the council goals and work session, the short-term financial plan as amended. So that's already been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion from council on this?
Just wondering, was there other language that Susan you wanted to correct?
I don't know. I'd like to be able to review it further to see what other changes or surprises I might find in it.
How would we go about tabling it, Kevin?
Just a motion to postpone the vote.
All right, I make a motion to postpone the vote so that we.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded.
Voice vote, I don't put them on.
Okay, and once, for this one, Attorney Rogers, once we're approved at this, then it closes the item, correct?
Yes, it comes back intact as it's before the council right now, and they vote on the document as it is.
Okay.
On the next agenda.
Right.
Okay, yep, so we'll
But
do
we
it.
have a chance to amend it, do we not?
You will at that meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been motioned and seconded for having this postponed indefinitely, correct?
Right.
And any discussion on that? Okay, is this voice or? roll
Voice.
call? Voice vote, okay, so all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so that passes and we'll postpone this indefinitely. We'll plan to revisit it on our January 4th meeting, at which point you can offer amendments. So with that, that brings us over out of our resolution packet, and it brings us over to allow bills and payrolls, item 27. Is there a motion to approve bills and payrolls?
So moved.
Motion and seconded. And this requires, or any council discussion? Public discussion? Okay, then this requires a roll call vote.
Dara,
Aye.
Cyrus,
Aye.
Dunn,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
DeBoer,
Aye.
Cruz,
Aye.
Harding,
Aye.
all voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That brings us to city council referrals. Are there any referrals that council wish to bring forward tonight? Okay, seeing none. Then updates from council. I do want to use this time to answer Councilmember Dara's question from earlier. He asked about the process or what's in the timetable for the Human Rights Commission. As by the bylaws, I'm supposed to appoint within 60 days of a vacancy on the Human Rights Commission. I believe we're past that. We've had some difficulty with the changes, knowing what the expectations are going to be for that commission. I believe we're set moving forward, having the information at hand with the commission, what it's going to do. We're only on second consideration, so it'll be final consideration on the 4th. And I feel comfortable moving forward with 3 appointments, which would fill 3 vacancies. That will, our expectation is to have that for the January 4th meeting. And then for the most recent vacancy for Angela Wazeskuk, I want to hold off on that. I don't want to rush that one since now we will need additional candidates. So my expectation is to see that final seat filled probably the first meeting of February. So does that answer your questions, Councilmember Dara?
Well, actually, my question was more about the role of the commission. You know, the last time we met, it seemed like we were maybe looking at clarifying some of the responsibilities. And I also got the sense that maybe that group wanted to meet again with the council. So I'm just wondering if there was a plan moving forward to, and it also seems kind of timely when you look at our resiliency, some of our recommendations there if we have a plan to have more discussion with that board about what their role moving forward will be. Just work in progress, I guess, and wondering if we're going to do something like that.
Okay. Well, certainly the plan is to have additional joint work sessions, because we at least found that to be helpful for the dialogue between our groups. I would want to wait until we have the 3 appointments in place so that they can be part of that discussion as well. But I would imagine soon after we would have that joint work session and an agenda set that would help to help clarify what some of their roles are and maybe some of the council expectations for that group.
I just kind of wanted to make sure that was still on one of our burners.
Yes.
Yeah, great, thanks.
And Mr. Mayor, one quick point of clarification. Are we at, or how many members will we have once it's filled, this vacancy?
With the 3 vacancies filled, that'll put us to 8. And then Angela Wazeskuk's vacancy filled would put us at 9 again.
Okay. And at least for now, we're going to go with 9.
That was the consensus I had from council, was to keep it at 9.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other council updates? Okay. So seeing none, then I'll bring it to staff updates. Is there anything you'd like to update City on, Mr. Gaines?
Mayor, maybe just real quick, I resent the email as we were speaking there that has both the marked up document and the clean document on it with regard to the council rules.
All right, thank you. And let's see. So next week we have public forum on the agenda. So with that, I'll turn it over. If anyone from the public wishes to comment tonight, you have opportunity up to 5 minutes to speak on topics germane to city business. So is there anyone from the public wishing to speak tonight? Okay, see Mr. Skeen. So go ahead, sir. Name and address for the record, just so we have it on file. I didn't do that before.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Skane, go ahead, sir. If you just give name and address for the record, because we didn't get it earlier tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jim Skane, 2215 Clay Street. And my concern, actually, it's a little less as a result of some recent action by the council, has been about the transparency. There has been a consistent effort not to have the public informed about what was going on. Part of that is insisting that people have selection of the agenda items, and if they don't select an item, it goes through as approval without debate. And it seems to me that each item should at least be introduced as a motion, and then if there is no controversy, then it can quickly be approved. But the fact that
brought this up several times already.
People,
is there anything additional you can add to this?
But see, you don't have a right to interrupt me. I have the floor, Mr. Mayor.
Presiding official, so I always have that right.
No, you don't, because unless you're saying that what I'm saying is not germane, otherwise you have no right to interrupt.
Mr. Skane, continue with your comment, sir.
Okay, I'll continue, but please don't interrupt. The fact that today most of the 26 items on the resolution calendar, all but 2, had no discussion and no information. And then the fact that you have the 3 areas of council referrals and council updates and staff updates that does not provide for any input from the people, from the public, and that adds to the lack of transparency for the public. And then if you look at the fact that the agenda comes only on Friday night, which makes no sense, and then the public only has 72 hours. I guess the council members only have 72 hours to get the information about an item. So the real point that I'm concerned about is that there should be nothing on the agenda that couldn't make the agenda be published earlier. But with that tight timeline, there's just no opportunity. Even if you go through the packet, when the packet is sometimes 700-800 pages, it doesn't make for consideration, and the packet only includes information as to why the item should be accepted. There's no opportunity, really, prior to the meeting to hear the objection. Now, today, one item which I thought was very well handled was the platting amendments that were made, and so I'm thinking that there is some movement away from this strict anti-transparency movement, but much more needs to be done.
1 minute.
And 1 more minute is fine. And the fact that there is the resistance to violate, or there is an acceptance of violating the First Amendment by the germane application, because again, that doesn't make any sense that the presiding officer or a member of the council can tell whether something violates the Constitution. And so I would ask that be removed. But I do appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about this.
Thank you, Mr. Skane. So looking at that item about the role of the presiding officer, I would refer everybody to this exciting book, Robert's Rules of Order. Under part 929, it's on page 88. It says, for a public session, in meetings of many public bodies, such as school boards, the public may attend. These attendees are not members of the meeting body and ordinarily have no right to participate. Some bodies, especially public ones, may invite non-members to express their views, but this is done under the control of the presiding officer, subject to any relevant rules adopted by the body and subject to appeal by a member, not a non-member. Often by rule or practice, time limits are placed on speakers, which we do, and relevance is closely monitored. We use the term germane, but that relevance is extremely important. So these aren't things that I'm just doing arbitrarily. I'm doing my very best to follow this rather thick book, and I would encourage the public and council members too to avail yourself of it, so that we can have good, productive meetings. That's why this book exists. So just wanted to clarify what it meant and why I did have the right to interrupt Mr. Skane as a speaker. So with that said, we have Steve on the line here. So Steve, if you could please give us name and address for the record. I believe I unmuted you. I'll try again here, sir. Okay, still not seeing you unmuted here. There we go.
Okay, I think I'm okay now.
Yes, sir, just fine.
Oh,
just
okay, yeah. I'm Steve Norby from 1521 West 18th Street in Cedar Falls. If this is appropriate, I just want to be very brief. I know that I've communicated with a lot of you. I'm
Yes,
really
sir.
concerned with electric bikes on the trails, and once again, I've ridden one, and frankly, I think you go very fast. I think it's kind of kind of a problem, particularly people for walking or baby carriages. When I go, I'm usually going 10 to 15, and that's not as fast as some people are going, but I think that we need to really consider the safety. So for that reason, I'd really ask you to take a look at that when it comes up for the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Norby, and we really appreciate your input these past couple of days through email. So thanks again, sir.
Thank you.
And anyone else wishing to speak in public comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. And I just want to wish everybody happy holidays. And Mr. Sires, if you could quickly give your infomercial about the conjunction tonight.
Oh, well, what that was a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And that hadn't been seen for 800 years. We missed it by just a little bit because it sat just like the sun.
Okay.
Come back tomorrow?
Short window. Nope, just today. Sorry about that.
All right. Just wait another 800 years. You'll be all set.
Yeah, it's another 800 years.
Well, thanks. God bless. Happy holidays. And it's been wonderful working with you guys this year.
Same to you.
Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.